Good.
Cool. All right. So,
You can narrate what you're doing too.
all right, so we're taking the rested piece of dough and we're going to degas lightly, again expelling CO2, and just basically getting ready. We're looking for like a rectangular shape, and I'm going to start basically folding the dough in thirds, 3 folds,
What are you
right?
making?
Baguette. And then I'm going to start elongating like this. And I'm going to taper the edges a little bit, like a tapered baguette. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Then we put it over here. We flour this couche over here, which is just linen. You proof them in. Pretty cool, right? I kind of want to get one. So yeah. And so again, you're doing 3 folds. 1 fold, 2 fold, 3 fold, right? And then so yeah.
So what's the most important part? Okay, no, I don't want you to have to make it simple like that, but so is it the dough or the hand of the artisan right there as far as shaping these baguettes?
That's the thing with an artisan thing, everything's important, you know? Everything's the most important. Nothing can be left. You're only as good as your weakest component. So if you're not good at if you don't understand fermentation and making a beautiful dough, you're not going to be it doesn't matter how good of a shaper you are, you're going to shape shitty dough.
Yeah, it's no coming back from it.
And if you have if you're an amazing mixer and make incredible dough, if you're a shitty shaper, you're still going to have a horrible looking loaf of bread. It'll taste great, but because the fermentation's there, but
it has to be a certain shape for the amount of time it's in the oven for it to all come out to the right consistency and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, so like the baguette the shelf life of a baguette in France is 6 hours. The surface area is so high on a baguette, if you think about it, it stales really quickly. Sure. And it's just like...
And you can only get the right crust, I suspect.
Right.
Like, with the right interior.
The right type of dough, the dough needs to have a certain hydration, so when water evaporates out of the loaf when it's baked, it has enough residual moisture that it has the right mouthfeel. And then also the right type of oven for a baguette is crucial. If you don't have steam injection, you're up shit creek. You have to have steam in order to get that baguette crust to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of stuff.
Sure. So that's why it's important that you have either a brick oven or something like the oven you use.
Yeah, steam injected oven, right? Yes.
Why I can't, well, in part.
In a home oven,
make decent bread at home.
You just have to figure out a way to just make massive amounts of steam in a home oven. When I would bake at home in a home oven before I had any of this, I would do like a cast iron pan underneath the baking stone that I would just throw ice in just to rapidly generate steam as I loaded the bread into the oven. Yeah, good stuff.
That thing where you have to sweat the small stuff.
Every small stuff has to be sweated, you know?
They say don't sweat the small stuff, but some small stuffs need to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that matters, really. Yeah, this is interesting. This isn't the baguette I normally make, so I'm really interested to see what it turns into. It's got some liquid levain in there, which is just the name for the sourdough starter. So it's going to have a slight tang to it, which is not typical for baguettes. Baguettes are normally always commercially yeasted.
So you said you just changed it.
Well, I just was going to try something new for Sunday. I mean, I always want to try something new and see how I can just better what I'm doing.
Gotta tweak it.
Yeah, always constantly tweaking, constantly finding out how to make it better. Every little thing better each day.
Do you consider this a creative process?
Oh yeah, like I'm just constantly, like the miche over there, I'm constantly trying different flours at different ratios, with different amounts of pre-fermented flour, to see like what is the ideal.
Sure.
I'd love to turn this back room into a gigantic retarder, so I can like retard shaped loaves of bread overnight, and then just like how much flavor will that add, and like it's like this cool blend because you're like trying to figure out how to make the best product, but also fuse that with making the most workable environment. Like how can you make your work shift easier?
Sure.
How can you work smarter and not harder? Like retarding it overnight allows you to get more sleep, but at the same time, it coincidentally also makes a really good loaf of bread.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like that crossover is like, yeah, that crossover is like fascinating.
And narrowing down those crossovers.
Yeah, it's like you're letting the yeast do its job with you not having to attend it and baby it along. So that's great.
Get the most out of your employees.
That's true too. Yes, my millions and billions
volunteers, I should say.
of volunteers.
Well, they're getting some food out of
Well, I mean, really, yeah, they're kind of employing me.
it. No, they were employing you when you were working 16 hours a day.
The only problem is at the end of the day is I stab them in the back, put them in the oven, and at 138 they all die. I'm like, sorry guys.
Dog eat dog world.
And then I eat their dead bodies with some butter and jam or a fried egg, and it's awesome.
Certain poetry to that. There is.
Yeah, there really is. If I ever had a rock band, I'd call it Thermal Death Point 138.